All right, my friends, thank you so much for hanging in there. If you were trying to get in right at 1 o'clock and you saw that we were not on yet, that was just some weirdness, some internet weirdness that decided to jump up exactly when I was hitting play. Not fun, kind of annoying, but you know what? We're here now. So thank you so much for joining me. I am Alan C. Paul. This is the Creative Checkup. This is where we help you solve one specific problem in your creative life, and we try to address it in a group format with conversation. And we also talk about all the different things that are happening in the God and Geeks community. So if you're new to us, thank you for joining us. Thank you for getting in here. And like I said, if there was any issues at the beginning and now you're coming back watching later because you said, wait, what happened? It was 1 o'clock Eastern and there was nothing happening. Well, again, just internet bugs. I don't know what happened. I'm even now just changed up the camera and I like, all right, we're just going to go with what we got because I don't want to have any more issues with trying to make things fancy. Okay, so let's get right into what we're going to talk about today. Do a little bit of housekeeping, stuff like that, and then get your comments because your comments and your conversation is really what matters the most. If you are hearing me okay, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Give me some comments during this discussion because, of course, it helps us to have a conversation and not a monologue. Number two, of course, it helps me make sure that technically everything's working, which is a little bit nerve-wracking right now because, like I said, right before we went on, everything went kaput. I had to reboot the computer and everything, sent out a quick email on my phone just to let everybody know. So, again, if you are hearing everything okay, if we are back to normal, that is great. Okay, so far it looks like we are back to normal. So I'm going to leave everything exactly like it is, not touch anything. All right, so first of all, I just want to make sure that everybody is in step with what's going on in God and Gigs and the community, which has been an amazing 3 months. We're right at the end of I can't even talk. The end of June. So this is our second quarter. April, May, June. We're in the second quarter. Ending the second quarter of the year. 6 months in, we're almost basically at the exact middle of the year. It's crazy, right? How fast did that go? But I wanted to give you guys some updates, especially those of you who are in the community already. You may not realize how much amazing stuff has happened because time is going so fast. So much is going on in our world. And I thought it was a good idea just to slow down and make sure that we talk about what's going on. First of all, let me remind everybody in God and Geeks 360, hello, if you're watching. Thank you for joining us. And our group is continuing to grow. You can see there we have our guest group and our gold group. By the way, I'm kind of dividing this up even as I'm talking about the Creative Checkup. If you follow the Creative Checkup on our newsletter, which is called the Creative Checkup also, and if you follow that, you'll see that we also have these 4 segments that we call like the vital signs is first. That's the first section of the newsletter. Then we have the lab. That's where we check out things and see what we're actually doing, lab work. Then we have the consult where we have a discussion about what's going on, just like you have a conversation with your doctor. And last, we have prescriptions. That's the last section. So I'm going to try to divide this up even the same way the newsletter goes. If you're interested in a newsletter, by the way, if you're not already on that list, you can go to godandgeeks.com/info and you can sign up for the newsletter. And we get a weekly newsletter every Wednesday that really breaks down 4 areas, again, just like we do here, of something that's going on in your creative life, how to solve an issue, how we're dealing with our spiritual life, our creative life, with our business and our marketing, and just how to put all those pieces together. So God and Gigs 360 is where we put it all together in the membership model with our own app, so on. So we have our app, we have our gold group, which is our coaching membership mastermind, and then we have our 360 guests, and they kind of hang out, but they're not always in a coaching live situation. They've already bought a program, they bought a challenge or whatever. So that group has been growing for a while now, and you can see all of the names there. But our gold group, I mentioned last week, we now have a new member down here at the bottom, Sandra Barker McIntosh. She is Coach Sandy B. She just started her coaching program for the Summer of Success that we kind of helped kick off back a couple of weeks ago. She just had the first session yesterday. I wanted to be there. I fortunately wasn't there. So I'm going to be still trying to jump into that. And if you want to see if you have room there for Coach Sandy B's program, you definitely want to check her out. Go to, I believe it is 90daywins.com, or it might be coachsandyb.com. But if you're watching, Sandy, please put that in the comments so we can find out how we can join you. But that's our gold group. That's the group that is continuing to grow because, like I said, we got new members now. And all of these people you see there are growing by leaps and bounds by their connections. We're doing a member call again. We're going to be doing more challenges with them. We're doing one-on-one coaching with some of them on ConvertKit, emails, all the stuff to help them be a totally confident Christian creator. All right. And let me also talk about some other things that are happening in God and Geeks, which is really cool. This is kind of just like an overview of what's happened for our membership and our podcast and our YouTube, just basically what's happening all around us right now. By the way, let's see. We have some comments. Make sure we say, what's up, Simony, my friend? Speaking of God and Geeks 360, there is our brand ambassador. She is the ambassador for the entire membership. So anytime somebody comes in, she's the first one to say hi. She knows where everything is. So great to have you here, Simony, with us on another creative checkup. And again, I hope you weren't messed up by that slow start we had trying to get everything started. So, and the 360 membership in the last quarter, the last 90 days, we added the Inspired Creators Corner, also known as the Inspired Creators Collection. And that is where now all of our recorded workshops, our recorded templates, all the different templates we have for how to solve different issues, whether it be your email, whether it's how to set up your live streams, whether it's how to get yourself organized in terms of a budget for your creative career, all of that stuff now is in the Inspired Creators Collection. Okay. And the corner is right there in 360 so that everybody who wants it can get it. And it is only $10 a month. We made it super easy now. You can just simply do 10, 50, 100, right? So 10 is for Inspired Creators Collection. Can't seem to talk today at all. I don't know what it is. And then the 50 is for the gold group. And then 100 would be for those who want to get coaching inside of 360. And it is 200 for those who are outside the group that want to get coaching. So it's just an easy 10, 50, 100, 200, right? Very easy pricing structure. I didn't want it to be complicated anymore. I just mentioned we welcome Sandy Barker McIntosh to the Gold program. And we had with her our first Summer of Success workshop back a couple of weeks ago. Let's see. I'm still getting issues. I don't know what's going on. Wait, we are still there. People are trying to call me, and that is annoying. It is like everything is working against me to try to steal my focus. So let's put do not disturb here, because clearly someone is working against me. The enemy is working against me. Finestro is joining us over here on Instagram. Good to see you, sir. Awesome to see what's happening in your life. I just worked with a young musician yesterday. I was thinking about you. So please weigh in if you can hang out with us. Finestro Phineas is an amazing creative. Check him out. I believe his podcast is 283. I'm not sure. I know it's an odd number, 283, 287, something like that. Okay. So check out godandgeeks.com. And that, by the way, goes right into what we're talking about. There have over been 2,000 downloads in the past 90 days for the podcast. And we are only 10 episodes away from 300. We just hit 290. That is insane. So 10 weeks away from 300 episodes. Let me know what you think we should do for 300 episodes. I've been very interested in bringing back some of our members that have not been on the podcast for a long time or who helped start the podcast and who were with me at the beginning. So let me know what you think in the comments, whether we should do something special with your, audience participation or a live stream or something like that to really celebrate 300. That's a big, big deal. Okay. And the last 30 days, 90 days, the most popular episode has been Dave Shiberton. You probably have already seen. I'll go ahead and bring that up now. Such an incredible episode that we did with Dave. His anointing, his level of wisdom and transparency was off the charts. It has gotten hundreds of views, both in the actual video and the clips, actually reaching into the thousands, actually. And it's just one of the most important episodes we've ever presented. So if you have not yet gone to godandgigs.com/289 or listened or watched it on YouTube, you need this in your life. What he shared really honestly could set up your entire spiritual foundation moving forward as a creative. That's how deep we went. That's how powerful it was. And I'm not saying that. The people who are commenting are saying that. So I pray you will check that out. Okay. And I think I shared, oh yeah, on YouTube. Let me also tell you what's going on YouTube, which is really cool, that we have 78 new subscribers. That's a 90% increase. We've been implementing some of the strategies from the Cap Show app, which is our 4-post strategy. If you're interested in that, I would highly recommend you check out Cap Show, which is what we use for our show notes and our links and so on in our podcast. But the most important thing about Cap Show is that it helps me organize the social media and how we are using our YouTube and so on. So guess what? It's working. Got a 90% increase in subscribers. If you're not subscribed, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like and subscribe. We passed 75,000 hours of lifetime watch time. So we're getting closer and closer to that 4,000 per year that we need to get monetized. So thank you for watching and continuing to watch. Every time you watch a video, it helps us reach that 4,000 hour goal. We're almost there to, I think we're at 887 or 98 or something like that. So we're right around 1,000 subscribers. So please like and subscribe. It helps us reach more people. I'm not looking for monetization for the sake of monetization. I'm looking to be able to be more visible. And sometimes it helps to be able to get those tools that YouTube gives you when you're monetized. So finally, we got our $1 a day promotions of videos. That was really blessing because we were just posting $1 a day and spending it on ads, and we were getting a lot more views on our videos. So just some ideas and things that are going through that we're doing here. And I always want to lead by example. Consider this the vital signs portion of our creative checkup. Because like I said, on our newsletter, we start with vital signs. So these are the vital signs. This is the health of our community right now. You can see that we are healthy, we're growing, still got some ways to go, of course, but we are working on all of the things that are making us a better group. And that is partly why you're here, because you want to be better creative and you want to connect with other artists who want to grow from the inside out. And that's why I believe you joined us. Now, let's get right into today's presentation. But I do not have slides today like I sometimes do. I know I've talked about that before, where I like to do slides and so on. But I did that last week for the talk on influencer culture. But this week, I said, no, it's probably, number one, you can see how many technical issues we had. And then number two, the issue was I really wanted this to be more of a discussion versus a kind of presentation of what I think. What we're talking about today is really hard. And I told people on email that we weren't talking about the politics. This is not a jab at any politician about quitting. I didn't even watch the debates. I have no interest. I will obviously do my civic duty, but up until the time that I need to, I'm not going to get all caught up in that. But it was amazing when I put the idea of let's talk about whether we should quit things or whether you feel like quitting. It was all over the news. And it was just a reminder that everybody from every walk of life has to face either the prospect, the desire, or the threat of quitting, of people quitting on you, or you deciding it's time to quit. So first of all, what goes through your mind when you hear the word quit? I'm talking to everybody watching Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and those of you watching on replay. I would love for you to put in a comment or put in the chat, wherever you're able to do it. Because as soon as I started talking about creatives and quitting, I wanted to make sure we define our terms. Let's define the terms first so that we are in agreement with what quitting really is. Because maybe quitting is not what you think it is. And maybe what I think quitting is maybe isn't what it is to you. So I want to make sure we're really clear on that. Okay. So put that in the comments. I'm going to check around a little bit. see if we have any comments here on Instagram. I got to pull things around so I can see what's going on and make sure everybody can still hear me and so on. So that's why I'm pausing. So let me tell you what the first thing that pops into my mind when I hear the word quit as a creative. And this may be wrong, this may be right, but this is where I'm at with it. When I hear the word quit, I'm thinking in terms of somebody that figured out something is too hard, too big, they're not good enough. So quitting has that connotation of I gave up because I'm not good enough. I gave up because it's not worth it. I gave up. And so obviously that's a very negative connotation of quitting. However, if you are thinking right now, well, maybe quitting could be something different, you'd be on the right mark, because I'm going to talk about quitting, I think, in a different framework that might help you see when to quit, why you should quit, if it's ever okay to quit, especially as a creative. Because again, this sounds like fighting words. Sounds like saying quit means you are a failure. Quit means you gave up on life. You gave up on something. Good to see a few more friends joining us on Instagram, by the way. Thanks for joining me. And definitely tell me in the comments, if you can, what is the first word or the thought process or the analogies that come into your mind when you think of quitting? Is it negative always? Is quitting always quitting like in a bad way? Is there a good way to quit? So just tell me what's the first kind of words that come to mind when you hear the word quit. But as I was saying, my personal idea is kind of negative, but here's where it comes down to a personal story. And I have to be honest with you guys, because this is a very special time of year for me, because right around this time, oh gosh, was it 8 years ago? Oh my gosh, can't remember how long I've been. No, my gosh, not 8 years. It's been, 15? This is 2024, right? So guys, help me out because my math is totally off. So I think it was 2009. So help me out with the math because I cannot seem to do the math at all in my head right now. So that's 15 years, right? Am I 15? Talking about 15. So I think 15 years ago, or right around this weekend was when I quit ministry full time. Now, I know for those of you who know my story, you know where I'm going with this, and you know it isn't the same kind of quitting that you might be thinking of. But it's still basically, it was quitting. I quit my particular job, resigned, whatever kind of word you want to give that makes it a little bit better. It was June 30th of 2009. I'm pretty sure my math is right. And so I, for a year, had been considering, thinking, praying about, is God asking me to leave and step away from this ministry that I was in? And I honestly did not want to do it. I didn't know what was ahead. I knew something needed to change, but I didn't know what. And finally, it was like God kind of slapped me across the head. It's like, you're not making a decision. I'm going to help you make the decision. I'm going to give you a date. And I know God doesn't speak audibly all the time, but this case, I'm sure he did. And he gave me the date of June 30th. And so I remember that there's no June 31st. I remember June 30th because that's the date that God gave me to give up, quit, stop in this full-time position I had at this church. And again, it's kind of crazy to think that 15 years ago, I decided to walk away and make a huge decision to step away without any background or backup plan. There was no, oh, if I do this, then I'll do this. There was none of that. It was all, God said, go, it's time to go. And that's what I did. And it was absolutely the scariest and the best decision I've ever made. Thank you for that heart, by the way. I see that. And so if you're liking or saving this or sharing, thank you so much for the emojis as well. But yeah, I wonder if any of you have ever been in that place. Have you ever quit something, walked away, quit, just said, hey, this is my last day. I'm done. And again, this could be either in a setting like I was in, where I was in an employment setting, or it might be in a setting where you're working with someone, working on a particular project, something like that, and you decide to step away. And stepping away again is a scary thing to quit when you don't necessarily know what's coming next, and you don't know how people are going to receive your quitting. And the word itself, again, feels like a kind of failure, like a kind of, you gave up on something, something was not the way it was supposed to be, and you just gave up. And maybe for you, that's like, you're just like, I'm scared to quit. I'm scared to stop. I'm scared to step away. But something is coming that you need to step away for. And here's why I want to make sure that you hear quitting in the right context. Because for me, quitting was to quit the right thing so I could do a better thing. To quit the thing that I shouldn't be doing anymore so I could do the thing I should be doing. So we're not talking about quitting in terms of a negative context. I love what Seth Godin says in the Dip, the book, The Dip. And tell me if this resonates with you with a yes in the comments. Let me know that you're watching. If you quit something, does it always mean that was the wrong thing, that you should never quit? Seth Godin says everyone quits. You all quit something. We all quit. Let me think of something very easy that I can say right away. I quit watching Saturday morning cartoons. Pretty easy, right? Because obviously there's not really Saturday morning cartoons anymore, but I quit. I stopped. I don't do it anymore. I quit playing basketball outside because every single time I played basketball, I would sprain my fingers and I couldn't play piano the next week, or, something would happen. I missed 2 juries in college. So I quit. I quit basketball. Now you can color it and change the words, but truth is I quit. And you can think of some things right now, I'm pretty sure, that you have quit, that you have just stopped doing, and that you don't feel the least bit sad about. You were a kid, you weren't enjoying it, and you quit. So if we change the word from quitting to feeling like a failure to, some people say pivot, some people say redirection, reset. Like, there's all these other words for quitting that kind of make us feel better. Let me grab this real quick. But the truth is, it's quitting. Even when you change the word, even when you say it's something not that's feeling as final and as fatalistic as quitting. Whoops. Stuff. Sorry, just everything's kind of a little off today, as I said. Yeah, it is still quitting. So the question is, will you quit the right things? And when can you quit something that will make a major change, a major difference in your creative life in the right direction? Because here's the thing. If you quit one thing, it should leave space for the next thing. And one thing I've quit recently that I think that is a perfect example of this is I quit, again, resigned, stepped away, left, all these other words that might work. I quit my corporate position at another job, another musical position, that it had run its course. And again, the reason why was not just because, they were mean to me and it was a bad situation. It was just time for me to go. And so quitting that, saying I'm going to quit doing Saturday wedding gigs, has opened the door to so many other things that are more in my wheelhouse, that are more connected to what I like to do, what I like to play in my creative life. And so quitting that band was absolutely the best thing I could do at this particular time for my creative career, to open the door to new things. So my question to you again is this: if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to this, please, and let other people know that you're watching. But the question I'd love for you to answer in the comments is, name something you've quit. Something that you quit as a creative that's actually made it better. I quit playing baritone, even though I kind of wish I still played. but I used to play low brass. I used to play in the band. So I quit that. All of a sudden, it's like all these things are popping in my head where it's like, I quit this, I quit. Right. And it's like, it's taking the sting out of it. And here's the thing, the thing that you don't want to quit on has to have space. So one thing I don't want to quit is podcasting. Well, if I don't want to quit podcasting, I'm going to have to quit a lot of other things that get in the way of that. And people might call it focus. And again, but let's just be honest. It means to cease to desist. As a matter of fact, you know what I want to do? I'm going to look up, forgive me for doing this live, but I really just want to get the actual definition of quit, just so I can read it. So quit here means the first one, and it's Oxford Languages, leave a place, usually permanently. Archaic, behave in a certain way. That sounds weird. That's not exactly what we're thinking. So resign from a job, obviously. Stop or discontinue an action or activity. Quit moaning. So as you can see, quitting in even these definitions is not this idea of failure. It's not this idea of, oh my God, if you quit, you quit, or you gave up because you're not good enough. No, it's just to stop. It's to step away. Let's think of it more like something that people like positively, like quit smoking, right? If you quit smoking, people are like, great, because you quit doing something that was negative. As a creative, as a faith-focused believer, as a Christian creative, you got to make sure that you're quitting the right things at the right times. Now, this has come up a couple of times, Simony. I'm sure you saw it in the chat in our Facebook group, that people are asking about timing. I'm getting ready to write another devotional for YouVersion, by the way. If you haven't seen it, I should have brought it up, but I have a devotional through God and Gigs. God and Gigs is now represented on YouVersion, the biggest Bible app in the world. And you can find it simply by going to YouVersion, going to the Bible app, and just type God and Gigs, and it'll pop up the Creator's Craft. That's our 3-day devotional on God's creative process. But I wonder if I lost my train of thought when I was thinking about the YouVersion, but there's so many things going on that can distract me from what I really should be doing, that I have to keep reminding myself that quitting is not a bad thing if I step away from the bad things and step more into the good things. So that's right. We're talking about timing. So people are asking about God's timing versus our timing. And I would say, honestly, that if you feel that quitting this particular thing is just going to give you a relief, it's going to cut you off some slack from having to work so hard, that's not the kind of quitting we're talking about. The quitting I'm talking about, when it's time to quit a relationship, a musical relationship that's not serving you, when it's time, as it was my turn, to quit in this particular position and step away and move on to something else, it was actually to do something harder. So quitting does not always mean doing something that is easier, quitting something hard to do something easier. Most times in my life specifically, and let me know if this has been you, if you've ever quit something, did you quit one thing that was easy to do something that was hard? Oh, Simony, thank you so much. I'm glad you needed this. And yes, please watch it on replay whenever you get the chance. I know you're busy. But yeah, I needed this too. It came up so much on, again, when people were talking about the timing of God. And I've also had some coaching discussions with some people who are doing a ton of things. And it just felt like we are overwhelming ourselves because we think we have to do all the things. And we think that quitting means failure. So if you believe that quitting means failure, you're not going to stop anything because you don't want to feel like a failure. And again, I am not saying to step away from things that God has pushed you to keep going. My podcast, almost 300 episodes, never quit, even when it got really, really weird and wasn't seeming like it was getting any kind of traction. And my co-host left and all these things, 3 months of technical issues where I couldn't get the podcast back online. Never quit. Had to pause, but never quit in terms of this is not working for me. This never long serves me. I'm not serving people, walk away. So I think the key, one thing that we need to talk about right away is if something is no longer serving you nor people around you, that might be time to quit. But the key of this is again, think about this carefully. Not serving you or serving the people around you that you are called to serve. So my question to you is, why do you want to quit? Is it because you want something easier? Is it because there's no indication that God has any grace on this anymore? You're just toiling away, and it's instead of the blessing of the Lord make you rich, he adds no sorrow to it. All you feel is sorrow being added to this. Maybe that's why you feel like quitting. But I even read this today from Jay Klaus on LinkedIn. It was a great follow, by the way. I'm going to start attending some of his things when I can. But he said the mentor asked him this. He said, first of all, why do you want to quit? And then he said, number two, have you done everything possible? Humanly possible, I think was the word. Have you done everything humanly possible to take care of this, to keep this going? Because if you haven't done everything humanly possible and you're not relying on God and you're just kind of like just winging it, yeah, the failure is probably your fault and the quitting will be your fault, and you'll never know what you could have had you stuck with it. So we got to reframe quitting from this failure of us to do all the things that God has blessed us to do, and trying again and trying again and trying again and failing and trying again. We got to separate that kind of quitting of just giving up when there's still life in the battle, and the quitting of strategic, smart, this no longer is serving me, nor am I serving others, right? That's where I was in my particular situation, where God had to remind me or show me where I was in my previous situation, where I realized I'm not serving my family, I'm not serving people well, and I'm not serving myself well. I'm not serving my purpose well. All of these things are pointing to, hey, it's time to quit. And this is, again, such a hard conversation, because it does not mean, and I want to make sure I keep saying this like a broken record, and if you're getting this, say yes in the comments, or hey, that's me. Anything that lets me know that you are also someone that's had to fight the feeling of quitting. Okay, because I know I'm not alone in this. And here's how I know I'm not alone. You know why? Because I see every single week on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and so on, people saying, man, I feel like quitting. I don't know if I should keep this going. I'm not making any money. I feel like quitting. So that means all of us have had that feeling of quitting. So the question is why and what? Why do we feel like quitting? And what should we quit? Because as we said, Seth Godin said it, everybody quits something. And it's not a negative to quit and to step away and to change if you know why you're doing it and what you're moving toward, versus throwing up your hands and giving up, which is just not the mentality that I think any of us as creators should have. So we've talked about why you feel like quitting. You're doing all the things. You're not feeling supported. You're serving, but you're not feeling like you're being served, nor you're serving other people with your best. And we talked about the timing, a little bit of how God kind of whispers in our ear, but sometimes he just, he's trying to see if you're going to follow directions. But let's talk about the how to quit, because how you quit has a lot to do with how you will be successful in the next thing. I mentioned my own situation with my previous employment, and that required me to be very careful about how I quit. I couldn't just say, hey, I'm out here, bye. I had to honor people who had been honoring to me and helped me raise my family. And it didn't feel right, but it was something I had to do. I had to show them that it was not personal. I had to show them that this is something that I know I need to do now, but it is not personal. Same thing with stepping away from full-time teaching. I remember that was a bad one, because I had to tell my students I was leaving, which felt horrible. But it was for the right reasons, because I couldn't serve them the way that I really should. And I knew that they would need a different kind of teacher who could really be plugged in, and I was not that teacher anymore. So I wasn't serving myself and I wasn't serving them. it's time to quit. Okay. Again, if I had been seeing little results, but I knew I was growing in character and I was growing in a different way, that might have been a different answer for me to quit from that full-time teacher position. But I was not, I say this all the time, I was not convinced or confident, but I was convicted. I was convicted by the fact that this had to change. Okay. So again, I'll ask you, if you're watching on replay, put it in the comments. If you're watching live, give me one thing that you have quit that you are feeling like, man, now that I look back, should I have quit that? Or maybe it's the opposite. You're thinking of something like, why am I still handling that? Why am I still doing that thing? Why have I not quit over planning, overthinking, being super micro detailed in every little thing in a particular project? Why haven't I quit that? What's the psychological reason that I feel like I have to do all the things? Because I tell you right now, I can't remember the name of the quote. The person who wrote it was one of my favorite quotes. The artist who attempts to do everything succeeds at nothing. So creatives, artists, you're not designed to do all the things. You're designed to have a zone of genius, to have something that you do really well. You do other things pretty well, and some things you should never touch, and you should fire yourself and quit from those things. Okay. I'm looking at Semine's comment from needing this today. So I'm glad she's going to be watching a replay. And again, if you're watching a replay, by the way, also put in #replay in the comments so we know that you were watching later, and I can still shout you out. So last but not least, as I was talking about, let's talk about the how. So how you leave. As I said, honor with a understanding of taking the lessons you learned with you and never burning those bridges just because it's time to walk away from something. Actually, I do have a great blog post that just popped in my head. Bill Withers is a great example of this. Let me see if I have this post. I'm going to put a link to it. You may not be able to click it. Let's see here. I put God and Gigs, Bill Withers. I'll have to put my whole thing in there to get there it is, the right way to walk away. I forgot I had this post. So this is a really old post, and it's a long URL, but maybe if you can see this later, you can copy it and paste it. Okay. But I did this. When is it time to walk away? And Bill Withers walked away from music at a time that he was at the height of his popularity. I think he had just either done Ain't No Sunshine or something like that. But I watched the documentary Still Bill. It's a great documentary. And let me see if I have another link to this that's a little bit shorter. I'm going to do a search for Bill Withers on the website. Sorry, guys. I'm still trying to I want to find a slightly easier link. Let's see. Encore. Let's see. It's about the same. All right. So it's not any different. So my point is that Bill Withers walked away at the top of his game and just knew it was no longer time. It didn't suit him anymore. Now, again, does this mean that you should also walk away from music at the top of your game? No, it's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have to be aware that God could pivot and move you in other areas where something that was dear to you is no longer, the editors say, kill your darlings, is no longer going to fit, even though you love it. It's time to move on. It's time to make a major change. And how you do that, again, the key is showing honor to the previous situation, showing honor to the previous employer or whoever, and being open to the possibility that even you're going to have to kind of change seasons and look at that season differently. You might have learned a lot from that last thing you did, but it's not going to apply in this particular situation. You might be, I'm thinking of like musical things that I've done where I played and, learned a lot, but I can't even live in that space anymore because I'm just not doing the same thing. And so I quit it, and I've kind of had to like divorce myself in my mind from that kind of identity because it's no longer what I do. So I hope this is helping you. I'm checking the time real quick. We're at 41 minutes and we started a little late. So I'm going to be closing it off in a second so we can still get done at 2. But yeah, if you want that link, I will also send that link via the Creative Checkup. If you want to join us again and sign up for that, you can go to, where is it? GodandGigs.com/info, and you can join us there. And again, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, I forgot to share this in the group at Facebook, but we'll just put it in as a replay later. So that is really my message to you, honestly. And again, this is in all sincerity. I am not saying give up on your creative dream. I'm not saying to quit anything that God is still telling you to be not weary and well doing. I'm not telling you that. I am telling you that sometimes you got to, like the book Good to Great, you have to give up the good to get to the great. Sometimes that means quitting, and not in a negative way, but it means in a positive way, stepping away from anything that's not serving you nor serving the people around you, because sometimes it needs to be where you see the people being served and you want to quit, but it's not time. You're still serving a need. They still need you. And it's not feeding you the way that you want it to fit because you haven't like seen it the right perspective. So it's not a call for you to quit the thing that you should be doing. It's a call for you to quit the things that you shouldn't be doing. The things that no longer serve your purpose, no longer serve your mission, no longer serve who you're becoming. It is okay. It is okay to step away. It's okay to back off. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to say, God, help me let this go because this used to be a big part of my identity. And now it's time for me to switch that up and do something different. And that's super important for you to be aware of and to be comfortable with. Now, it's never comfortable at the beginning, but as you learn to quit better, you will get comfortable with it. All right. So thank you once again, guys, for watching and listening. Now I'm going to quickly through a couple of things that are going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to join GodandGigs.com/inspired, that's the Inspired Creators Collection. It's only $10 a month. All the templates, the kind of workshops I'm sharing right now, plus those with our established creative experts, people who know about grant writing, people who know about marketing, people who know about their spiritual life, how to create worship teams and to build worship teams, and all the things that you are probably already doing. There is an established creative expert workshop already recorded for that. That's an Inspired. Then if you want to jump into the top level, that's gold, GodandGigs.com/gold. And that will be where you get the mastermind calls, the live coaching, the discounted live coaching 1-to-1. All of that is available at GodandGigs.com/gold. And as I mentioned, we have several members. I lost count. I want to say we have at least 60, maybe 50 members. I'm not sure how many members we have now, but yeah, someone do the math. And if you want to be in GodandGigs.com/gold, you can go to GodandGigs.com/gold, and that will get you into that program, which is $50 a month. Oh, and by the way, if you are on iPhone, this is super cool. This has been bugging me for years. You can finally buy the plan on your iPhone. If you get the Mighty app, that's where we belong. You just go to Gold. But I'm talking mostly to those of you who are already part of God and Gigs 360, and maybe you didn't know how to upgrade. You can upgrade simply by going inside your iOS app now, inside Apple, and simply selecting the plan. That was not available. For some reason, it took years to approve it, but I finally got some help. Thank you to Jasmine Crumley for kind of like pushing me in that direction, because she has a new membership for singers. And we were talking shop, and she's like, yeah, I just got my plans approved. I was like, I haven't got my plans approved for like years. So thank you. And that's why mentorship and connection is always important. Their answer is usually a conversation away. The answer to your creative problem is a conversation away. How do you have those conversations? You get into a group like God and Gigs 360 Gold. Okay. So that is where you want to go. We're going to have another member call just coming up real soon. A couple more church announcements. I mentioned Inspired Corner. Let's see here. If you want to jump in and kind of get like this guest experience where you're just a member, but you're not necessarily responsible for anything in terms of like coaching, then you can jump into guideandgigs.com/360guest. And that's just a free forums, nothing that, provides anything in terms of coaching or the materials, but you do get a chance to hang out with us. So if you want to hang out with us and see what it's all about, kick the tires before you join, you go to guideandgigs360guest. Okay. A lot of folks joining us over on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay. And if you have a question about anything we just talked about, quitting, you have a question about when to quit, why you shouldn't quit, or when you should quit, that's a great time, because again, we're closing up in a little bit, but we might go a little overtime because I started so late. And again, my name is Alan C. Paul. If you're new to Guide and Gigs, thank you so much for joining us. And this is where we help you solve a simple creative problem that might be complex in just an hour of talking with our community. So that's the 360 guest program. If you are interested, you can check that out. And let me see if I have anything else I've forgotten before we close up. The Summer Success has already started, but again, I'm going to be checking that out. I can't find her link right now, but I think it's Coach Sandy B .com/SOS if you want to jump into her coaching program, which again will go summer. Oh, this is an important announcement, which I'll tease now. Two things. One is our creative craft devotional on YouVersion. I think I mentioned that earlier. You definitely want to check that out. Oh, let me pull that up real quick. Did I manage to pull that up? Or was it acting crazy? Oh, I did. Oh, I forgot. There it is. Yeah. So if you want to join the devotional reading, 3 days, just 3 days, we made it super easy and super short. You just need to go to your Bible app or the YouVersion app and type in God and Gigs. We've had over 200 people who have signed up to take this, and I believe we're up to 100 who have completed it. So that's insane for a new author that's never been on YouVersion before. So now I have 200 people who are registering to read this every day. So that means 3 days. So that means 600 days, right? 600 days, that's 2 years worth right there of people reading Bible verses. Insane. And 100 have completed it. So if you would like to be one of those people, I thought about doing this together. Let's take this banner down. I thought about doing this together in a group. If you would like to read this with us, let me know. If you would like to read this with us, because I can just simply send a link and then say, hey guys, we're going to be reading. Maybe next Monday would be good to start, because it'll be leading up to the July 4th weekend. So maybe on Monday, we'll start reading this together. If you'd like to read the Creator's Craft together with the group, let me know. Matter of fact, right now, before I jump off, put Bible in the comments if you would like to read this together. Okay, I'll just wait for a second, or I'll look at the comments later in the YouTube. And if you read this and you saw this and you want to do this together as a group and read the 3 days, put Bible in the comments. If I see more than 4 or 5, then that will show me that, oh, okay, you do want to read it together, or maybe reread it if you've already read it, and we can do it together, and we can have discussions in the forums in both 360 and in the Facebook. That would be really cool. So let me know. But again, you gotta let me. I'm not going to do this. Try to form a reading plan group if no one responds to this, because that probably means that you're not interested. Okay, so go ahead and put Bible in the comments and or the replay and or the chat if you'd like to do this devotional together with our group. We would send out basically, hey, we're going to read it today. Here's the time we're going to discuss it. And that would be really cool again, but just for 3 days. And we're going to work on the new one, which I've been asking everybody to give me your opinion. What do you think we should write about next? What's moved on your heart? So that when God moves on my heart, I can see that I'm also meeting your needs as well. Okay. And last but not least, I was going to mention just shortly that we're going to do another, finally, consistent creative challenge. This is our favorite challenge. This challenge is Am I still in? I gotta take this off. There we go. All right. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys. Lost my audio for a second. So fine, we're gonna do another consistent creative challenge. So I hope you guys will join us. I'll be announcing that very soon. Again, you got to go to godandgigs.com/info if you want to join that list and find out when the consistent creative challenge will be held. But I think it's going to be the 15th or the 19th. And it's going to be dope. We've been doing this for years. We haven't done it in a long time, but it's time again to get you guys all consistent, moving to the second half of the year with the kind of success, the summer success that we'll be talking about. It needs to continue. So we're going to plan for that in July. I'll give you more information as it comes. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody that was able to join on YouTube and Facebook, and everyone over here that used to join, that was able to join me on Instagram, including InstaFluff and JohnJohn92 and Eddie O'Main and I Am Balsina and Artist R and Imperial Ride, Shooting God, Tito C. Silver Sacks, Humble NJ. This is D. Smith. WDW Podcast. Finestra was with us. Dan, Next Stage, Dory, Emergency Musician, and C Keys TV. All you guys were joining us on Instagram for one time or another. As long as you were able to stay, thank you for joining us. Please share this replay. Even if you are watching now, you're like, okay, I don't know half the stuff that's going on, but maybe something this will help somebody. It's an hour-long program so that we can kind of discuss and take our time. So sometimes something pops up that will bless someone that didn't necessarily hit you at the time, but it's going to later. So make sure you share, like, and subscribe to this particular video. It will help us share the message and get more creatives who are becoming the creatives that God created them to be. All right, my friend, thank you so much. Remember, quitting is okay, but not quitting the wrong things. Quit the right things. I always hate it when I see one person jump in at the last minute. Make sure if you just started watching, did you go watch the replay? I see someone pop up and then I'm saying goodbye. But make sure you watch the replay if you didn't get a chance to see any or all of this presentation, this discussion on why to quit, how to quit, and when to quit, and why it actually can open the door to your best creative life, your best creative season, if you do it the right way. God bless you guys, and I'll see you next Friday. Oh, and make sure you listen to the podcast on Monday. Got a great podcast coming up. godandgigs.com/podcast. Make sure you are subscribed on your favorite podcast app or if you're on YouTube. God bless. See you next time.